And it's been a weak start to the year for electronics demand. Total global shipments of PCs slid in the first quarter by 29%, with Apple taking the biggest hit, according to the latest report from IDC. And TSMC reported its first drop in monthly revenue in almost 4 years, blaming weak overall macroeconomic conditions. So two things to really break down there within tech as a whole. I'll start with the former, which is that IDC. And what they particularly were citing was weak demand, excess inventory, worsening macroeconomic climate, and really contributing to the global shipments coming in at 56.9 million, contraction of 29%, as we had mentioned, compared to the similar quarter in 2022 as well. But they did kind of offer this other caveat as well. Perhaps it's a conclusion to the era of COVID-driven demand, at least a temporary return to pre-COVID patterns. So a larger question of what real normalization looks like and how the demand environment will continue to move forward. What companies in that demand environment are best positioned to kind of emerge or maintain their category leader positions or titles. But at the same time, that normalization is something that we're seeing across spending and even a contraction on some of that spending at the corporate level as well right now as they're restructuring some of those costs.
Well, there's a lot of ifs in the normalization, right? They talk about that next year we could see a refresh cycle starting to come back into play, but they say if the economy is trending upwards by then, they expect significant market upside. So that's a big if. The other thing that we have to highlight here is Apple. I mean, everybody got decimated still in the first quarter. I mean, these drops are pretty astounding, even coming from a pretty low level. The 29% overall drop, but 40.5% drop for Apple. Now, keep in mind, of course, Apple's the top of the line in terms of price. So you have to wonder if that's an issue or if people are just hanging on to their Macs longer because they don't want to spend that money as of now, or they just don't need it. Before, you might say, okay, here's the new one. Mine's a year old. I want to, maybe it's like a used car. You want to try and drive it a little bit further before you get that update. And then that goes hand in hand with Taiwan Semiconductor, of course, because Apple is a big client of Taiwan Semi. So not surprising then necessarily to see that drop in the TSM numbers. But these guys are hoping that this is the trough, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Especially on kind of the two different sides of what's driving that demand, the corporate demand versus the personal demand. And I think some of that personal demand, rather, the personal consumption of some of the electronic devices for anybody that on their own personal purchase bought into one of them in the peak of the pandemic, and if that device is lasting you for longer, then the customer life cycle, particularly right now, has stretched further and further. I know I've data-wise, kind of held my own personal computer since 2017. I still see no need to update it. But, of course, there's other great PCs out there. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of where the PC makers, the manufacturers, are going to sell the consumer enough on some of the new features, the functionality, storage, privacy, speed of the devices as well, and when that particular super cycle starts. And here's a little bit of a tidbit here. By 2024, an aging installed base is going to start coming up for a refresh. That's according to the research vice president for devices and displays at IDC. And if the economy is trending upwards by then, to your if that you were mentioning ago, they expect market upside from consumers. Yeah,
and that Windows 11 might be a catalyst, but not an iOS refresh cycle. Meanwhile, I'm looking at both of our phones and just laughing because, we're talking PCs, but...
Don't look at my screen. It's really cracked.
Is it the screen that's cracked or is it the screen protector?
It's the protector.
Both of us have cracked protectors that we have not bothered to replace.
I have a fresh protector, actually. It's still sitting in the box. Haven't changed it yet.
So inertia is more our issue, I think.
I saved that for a good project, for like a lull.
I see.
Like a Lego set that you just hold on to and you save it for a rainy day.
Let's talk one last thing that we're watching. That's Tesla. It's planning to open a new mega factory in Shanghai. The company announcing in a tweet Sunday night, the Shanghai facility will supplement production of Megapacks at an existing factory in California. That's according to Elon Musk. Megapacks are large batteries that store excess power and supply backup when demand is higher. That helps stabilize power grids. The batteries aren't widely implemented yet, but Tesla has plans to supply Megapacks to a Houston area power grid, and Apple-owned site in California, according to reports. The announcement comes amid escalating tensions between the U.S. and China surrounding tech production, and Taiwan for that matter. We're going to talk more about Tesla's announcement coming up. We'll talk about implications for Taiwan and the latest in relations as well.